Hello again, and welcome to Paris Set Me Free mini photo tutorials. This was taken on a tour I did this morning. I've been out shooting photos 9 o'clock in the morning with a lovely girl from Chicago in the States. We did a Montmartre tour, and this is where I start my tour very often at Place no it isn't, it's Place des Abbesses, I think you would call it, Abbesse metro station. And it's great the way the light can change everything. Here, for example, it was early in the morning. We decided to meet at 9 o'clock, and it's March, so the sun is still quite low in the sky for quite a while this time. And we were wandering around, and I suddenly realised how marvellous these sort of cobblestones looked with this low sunlight. You can see how low it is because look at the guy's shadow there. You know, that means you follow the line from the top of his head there. So the sun's sort of going off, it's just over here somewhere, coming down, giving these gorgeous long shadows. And this effect also gives you the shining off the top of each of these little individual stones, and not really the stuff in between, which is quite dramatic. And the lower you squat down, the more that effect happens as well, if you want to make it even more accentuated. And if it's raining, it's even better. It wasn't, and it was marvellous. I'm very glad it wasn't. Now, so I thought, okay, let's try and get something here. So I saw the guy on the bike. I did this as a demonstration of what I was thinking of, but you know, it wasn't quite right, so I can't really see the shadow of the bike properly. Okay, and there's a few people here, so that was just a demonstration. So then I thought, okay, let's wait, see what happens. So we were both waiting for something exciting to happen, and obviously it didn't. Here's another attempt. You see, it's no good. The shadow's chopped. Now then, suddenly I saw a couple of guys walking away, and there was something funny about them. This is the next shot I took. I don't know if you can see exactly what's going on there. I'll just show you a few in this series. It took about 4. Now you see, you'll probably notice something about the shadow, something about the guys, and something about what they're doing. This is the next one. And this is the next one. Now have a look at this. The two shadows are perfectly framed by the edge of the picture, coming towards us, going up nicely to the legs, making nice little shapes there. This guy's turned towards this guy. In fact, they're both turned towards each other, which is rather nice, because it shows human interaction, which is always pleasant. Must try sometime. You've also got these two kind of pole bollardy things to stop cars going there. So there's 2 of those, and there's the 2 guys. They're all black, you know. Maybe these are these 2 black guys with these little round heads, which are almost silhouetted, and then there's these 2 little poley guys with their little round heads. I look for these things and sometimes find them when they don't even exist, but there you go. That's one of the reasons when in the final one I didn't get rid of this pole, to have the 2 of those. And what they're doing is they're both looking at each other, and they've both got a fag hanging out of their mouth, as we would say in British English. American English don't say fag for cigarettes. Cigarette, maybe they say. So I thought that was kind of good, actually. There's a cloud of smoke going all over them and stuff. And I thought, okay, this is good. I didn't want to get rid of this, and I didn't want to chop this shadow. But if I didn't chop this shadow, I'd have this woman almost have this woman in the bright red, which is not so cool. So I tried to zoom in. This is all, you know, as they're walking away. So there's no way they were waiting around for me. Here I zoomed in, and I might even have had a bit of time to bump up the exposure to make it a bit lighter. You know, some things are better. You've got rid of some of the other stuff, but this guy's now not looking towards this guy. This guy's looking with his cigarette there. This guy isn't. Here's the final one I managed to take. Again, it's not perfect. So I went back to this one and tried to do something with it. Now if I look for the entire final result, it's here. So you see the trick I did to get rid of the red woman was obviously to turn everyone sepia, and I generally use a rich tone of sepia. I don't even know if you can call it sepia actually. It's kind of hovering between rich orangey brown, I would say, and I prefer this to the traditional sepia, which, you know, it might be cool to have an old sepia photograph, but now we can make it richer. I like rich colours, so without going over the top and doing it bright orange, as I sometimes do. Yeah, have a look at this one. I've gone a bit over the top there, bright orange. But no, here I kept it as, I tried to tell myself, no, keep it subtle, keep it subtle. But it's still a bit more sepia than traditional old sepia photos, which for me are just a kind of vague off grey colour. So that's the one I went for in the end. What have I done? I've turned it this colour to get rid of this woman is bright red. If you remember the original, that coat there is bright red. I chose the picture where the two guys are looking straight at each other and you can see both cigarettes. So it's kind of this funny interaction. These two guys both probably like this with a cigarette in their mouth. They're both dressed kind of the same, or they seem to be, due to the silhouette effect of the sun. There's a bit of a halo here effect on his hair and on this guy, which is nice because of the backlighting. We call this contre-jour. In other words, means against the day. You're shooting into the day, or rather into the sun, which gives you all of these effects that I'm talking about. And the sun even shines through the smoke to make it seem whiter than it might normally appear. And again, as well as all that, I have bumped up the settings a little bit to accentuate, you know, and here's the final result in the size that I show it on my site. I can't show it all here, just to let you see how it's turned out. So, some very nice detail there. Obviously it's a bit pixelized here on the site, because I don't put the highest quality version possible in an attempt to stop people stealing them, or simply just to basically it's for that. You know, you keep the resolution of your photographs down, I do anyway, to a certain level, good enough to really appreciate what's good about them on the web, but not good enough that someone can just take your work and print it as a postcard and sell it, or, you know, whatever. I generally let people use these if an individual person, a private person, you know, wants to use it for a postcard or something, just for their own, you know, a one-off. But you've got to protect your work against other people just taking your images. So there it is. Quite pleased with this in the end. You know, I mean, it's not the most amazing picture, but it's not planned either. It was absolutely spontaneous. I'd spotted the lighting conditions, knew what I was looking for. Again, like the girl on the running in the frame of the bench next to the boat that I talked about recently, I'd seen what I liked in a static form, but then I just needed something spontaneous, and that's one of the absolute beauties of photography. I had no idea it would be these two guys smoking at each other with these lovely shadows, and it all fitted into the photograph frame wonderfully. So as I bask in the glory of this early morning sunshine and my photograph, I leave you. Thanks again. See a higher quality version of this on the site or on the blog at parissetmeFree.blogspot.com. And see you next time. Bye bye.
Depuis que je suis à Paris, le jour et la nuit, je suis gris. J'ai compris la douceur de vivre. Je suis fou de joie, je suis ivre. Depuis que je suis à Paris.